Alright, this is going to be a Troubadour, kind of a training video, but it's really just a general overview so you get to learn. The Troubadour replaces a Mesmer, and it will change your clones out for notes. You'll get access to an F1 to F5, and these things will activate whenever you use them. You will change the amount of duration based on how many notes you consumed, and that's how long the instrument will play for. These instruments will buff up various things such as your heel, your tails, as well as your crescendo. Your crescendo is your biggest barrier, and it will also give you some stability. It gives you some stability because of this trait right here, Bountiful Disillusionment, which gives you certain buffs based on which F1 to F5 skills you use. So this is one of your biggest stab sources next to your 2 stab buttons. Another thing I wanted to mention is this is a slight variation on the traditional Troubadour healing build because it runs Medic's Feedback and Temporal Enchanter instead of Ego and Restorative Mantras. This allows us to take the Tail of the Second Scion over Mantra of Recovery. It gives us a little less note generation, but it will give us more healing, and it will give us more boons. When you start reviving an ally, you will cast Feedback automatically. You don't need to cast anything. Feedback is a nice little reflective bubble, and it's a glamour. Glamours are buffed up with this skill that gives your glamours super speed and resistance to your whole party when you cast them. And so whenever you start reviving an ally, you will give everybody around you super speed and resistance, which is very nice. Then your F4 skill breaks stuns on allies, as well as gives them 4 seconds of resistance, so this is the type of thing that you want to save when you're under pressure or trying to run away. The last 2 traits of note are the Life of the Party, which adds quickness to your crescendo, and Altered Chord, which is very important because this Altered Chord reduces the recharge time of your crescendo when you activate one of your F1 to F4 skills with at least 1 note. Now on to weapons. For your weapons, you're going to spend most of your time in Rifle. In Rifle, your auto attack is a reflectable skill, so you don't want to keep it on. You want to have it turned off so that it doesn't keep going. Your 2 is just an AoE placeable heal allies in that area spot. It does okay damage, it's not very important. Your 3 is a very interesting skill, actually. You place down an AoE, and if you let it expire, it will give allies Might and Fury, but you can also detonate it early to give out Chaos Aura, cleanse conditions, and do good healing. Your 4 skill is a Phantasm that does shoot a reflectable projectile, so I don't recommend using it too often unless you're very low on notes. And then you have your 5, which is Barrier in an area, but it also gives resistance. It's one of your other resistance sources. It's very important to keep your group together and not have to worry about immobilization, chilled, fear, or crippled. If I show you the 3 that doesn't explode early, you can see it just gives me nice boons. Your other weapon set is not a weapon set you're going to be spending much time in. It's really only for starting up or if you need to help block damage. You use your 5 to empower. It gives you might and swiftness, as well as blocking some projectiles. And then you have a bunch of survivability tools, with your 2 being a blur, and your 4 being usually a double block as long as enemies are hitting you. But yeah, those are your main weapons. Now finally, on to your utility skills. Your heal skill is a tail. Your honorable tail of the honorable rogue is a tail, and your tail of the Ox Queen is a tail. These will all give healing and protection, so they give more protection, which is always welcome. This tail, your heal tail, will actually give you a note as long as you have 2 or more instruments playing. So let's say I use my F1 and my F2, that's 2 instruments playing, so I can use my heal skill, and it'll give me a note, so I can reduce the charge of my crescendo even more. My 2 main stability sources that I use are these 2. Usually on Engage, I like to start with my Stop Mantra. This will give you some nice Aegis and stability going into the fight. Then you can either pop your Power Break, which is just a reactivation, give you more stability, or you can use your Crescendo to give you more stability. Then you have Tail of the Honorable Rogue. This is a very nice skill to get you out of a situation. It will give you endurance, it will give you swiftness, and it will give you 6 seconds of stability. So, if you have a group and you're maybe trying to run away, let's say, this is very useful because it will get you out of there quick. Your power break, usually you want to try to keep it at 1 charge as much as possible, so you always want to let it recharge. If that's not possible though, you can just sacrifice it. Hopefully the fight will be over by the time you have to use it again. Next you have your Signet Evolutions. Since we are using our F1 to F4 so much to recharge our crescendo, so let's say we do our crescendo, we want to reduce it by 2 seconds, so we do that. We want to reduce it by another 2 seconds, so we do that. Reduce it by another 2 seconds, etc., etc. We're going to run dangerously low on our F1 to F4 skills. So the solution to this is our Signet of Illusions. Since it's down to 10 seconds, let's use your Signet Illusions. Fully recharges all of our F1 to F4, but it does not recharge our crescendo, which is very important to know. So we use it again, now our crescendo's back. So we can use the ability, quickness, nice. Tale of the August Queen is our group-wide distortion and healing, and as well as it will command every single one of your instruments to start playing. How long they play is dependent on how many you have playing before you activate the skill, but it's really just used for the 2 seconds of distortion. It helps you stand in the middle of another group. It's very nice. That is the general overview for Support Troubadour.